And
Ma'am,
most, am
yes,
I
ma'am, you are
audible?
audible now. Yes, ma'am, now you are perfect.
Okay. Is my screen visible, sir?
Yes, ma'am, it's visible.
Visible. Okay. Yeah. Thank you. A very good morning to all of you again. Just having a friend. We had something, an event going on here, and I had to be there, and that is why this small time lag. So kindly excuse me for that. And again, pranams to the respected Vice Chancellor, sir, and the most respected Vaidyanathan sir, who's a role model and has been the guide to me there at Tamil Nadu Physical Education Sports University. So thanking you for this wonderful opportunity and happy morning to all of you. And my respects to all the esteemed dignitaries who have come in here and joined here. So such a wonderful morning and great to be meeting you all through this platform. And so my topic would be on contribution and influence of yoga in the enhanced performance in games and sports. So how is yoga being helpful? So just as a short introduction, because all of you know about yoga very well, and there is no need for me to introduce what yoga is all about, but there is just a small misconception saying that like yoga is more a physical exercise. It's just a set of exercises to activate the body, which is a small misconception that's going on. It is actually more for the psychological well-being and enhancement to which the body is responding, and hence the whole of the human being, the whole of the individual, the different levels of existence, mainly the physical body, the energy body, enhanced by the breath, and then the mind, manomaya, and the intellect, the discriminatory capacity with which you make decisions. Is this right, is this wrong? And the layer of bliss, the spiritual layer, the outermost one or the innermost one, either ways. So this, the whole being is made up of so many levels of existence. So what is yoga doing is to combine and integrate and connect us at all these different levels, so that we can be that holistic, holistic personality that we all are, and not a split personality. And it imparts strength and flexibility to the body, balances the mind and emotions, which keep us, pull us apart actually. Like yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. So there is a constant disagreement and a fight going on between your body, your mind, your emotions. That is kind of causing a lot of mental stress and emotional strain within us. And how can we be able to do what we are doing to the full capacity that we are endowed with? That is a problem. And the lifestyle which is like followed in yoga promotes the holistic health and well-being at all these levels, and cultures the individual, because the individual, he is made up of all this, and he has to be positively placed, not with a negative connotation. So the positivity within is enhanced. That is like with yoga. So there is something called the threshold of tension, the stress, where human beings, can bear tension up to a particular limit, beyond which the brain, sends signals to the muscles, causing a big imbalance, tightening, stiffness, causing instability and imbalance. So what is yoga going to do here to help enable in enhance the threshold? Say for example, this is your pain threshold, this is your ability to endure the threshold of that. So you, by practicing yoga along with your sport, that limit or threshold of pain or endurance is going to get enhanced, so that you can withstand or go along even to that extent without breaking down because of the stress. So the individual as such is becoming more resilient. So what is this quality of resilience all about? It is kind of, what we say as a rubber ball, the bouncy quality. We all have the, like all of us break down, all of us fall down. That is but human beings' tendency. But don't worry about that. Do you have this quality of resilience? And can you bounce back and start, resuming your activities as if there is no problem at all, and it is as normal as possible? So, yoga improves every aspect of the performance, from endurance to power to speed to agility and whatnot. So the general improvements in the sports skills and overall fitness are enhanced along with their sport and yoga. So here we are not actually splitting up into compartments. So please, like that is something that right at the beginning I'm telling you, there is no division or there is no compartmentalization in the sports activity or in the yoga activity. It is kind of going together. It is complementing with each other. Because through the core or the isometric contractions that happens in yoga, the asanas, through the prolonged stretching actually complements the strength training which we do. The resistance training, the strength training, that is all done as part of the physical training that is given in the sports. And deep, relaxed breathing, pranayama, helps build up the endurance for long distance runners, marathon runners. I don't have to give you that example actually, because you're all better placed than me from the physical education arena. The main thing here with yoga and pranayama here is it reduces the performance anxiety. So before you go out on the field, anybody is definitely bound to have, a little bit of tension and anxiety and stress. It is but natural. There is no escape to that. Anybody before going out on stage, they certainly have this stress. Oh my god, I have to go now on stage, so what is it going to be? Are the audience going to like me? So there is a performance anxiety which is alleviated with yoga and the pranayama practices. And during the strength training, we have different techniques. One is like we can hold the poses longer or repeat the poses more number of times or modify. There are variations available. We can modify the poses according to what kind of training we are giving. Say, for example, you have this boat posture here, which is like very good for the core strengthening. And the chair posture, if you can see, which is like very good to work on your quadriceps and gluteals. And so cross training, what is cross training? Cross training is something that is given, it's kind of a training that is given to anybody who is just specialized in one kind of a sport or any one activity. So this is kind of a supplementing activity or supplementary or complementary training which is given to avoid the overuse happening, and also to avoid the monotony and boredom which sets in with the practice of just one repeated practice sessions going on. So this cross training is necessary definitely in sports and exercise routine, and it can be done with high intensity or low intensity, and many techniques are there in yoga which can provide a complete workout for anybody in any sport. And mainly, this cross training is applicable to relieve the boredom, to recover from the tough training that has been given and the resistance training. And for example, let me just give you, like we have board games like chess and carom, where, like for those people, it is kind of a sitting, sedentary kind of a game that they are playing. because they sit during the whole game and during the practice. So what kind of yoga could help them? It is activity based cross training with the yoga techniques, which is going to help them, because from the sedentary sitting position where there is a lot of compression happening in the whole of the spine, so a lot of stretching, a lot of activity, say for example with surya namaskar, or fast activities, jatis and kriyas, you shake and throw, the joint activities which kind of stretches the whole of the spine, all these complement the board games. And say for example, there are the ring games that are there, kind of like the boxing or wrestling matches which is played within a ring. And what is happening during their training or during their match performances, they are kind of punched and hit, and the whole of their training and the match is going to be lot of aggressive activity going on. So, what is yoga going to be here for them? It is kind of the relaxation based cross training with the techniques in yoga, which is going to help them regain their balance. And similarly, for the field games like football, hockey, cricket, where there is a lot of standing and running going on the whole time, and for them, the anti gravity based supine relaxatory positions, which was like one, help them with their regular training as well as help them to gain the balance which they had lost during the practice. So that is what cross training is all about. And what is yoga doing in all the sports professionals in general? It helps in enhance the endurance. Stress, of course, is addressed with yoga, as you all know, to reduce the stress levels, and balances the autonomic function, the sympathetic and the parasympathetic aspects of the nervous system, which is very much a part of the individual everyday living. So the balance is needed for an individual to be healthy. And yoga helps to create that psychosomatic, psycho meaning the body and soma is your psycho meaning your mind and soma is your body. So from the mind to the body, there is a sense of complete relaxation. And respiratory capacity, all the parameters related to the respiration, say the vital capacity, the tidal volume, you name it, and it is there. All these are enhanced. So any kind of sport or any kind of athletic activity, field activity, anything where all these respiratory parameters are very essential, especially for the marathon runners, long distance running. So they need a high capacity, vital capacity, which will keep them running, and lots of energy also. So that is provided with the pranayama and other yoga techniques. And physical techniques where a lot of expansion is given, the stretching is given, enhances the whole of the respiratory apparatus, all the activities, and reduced blood pressure and heart rate and flexibility, which is a very, very important component that happens. So increased flexibility, and increases the state of poise. What are you? What do you portray? What, as an individual, how do you express yourself in any situation? So that is poise and balance. Are you pleasing? Are you pleasant? That kind of is enhanced. The focus, of course, everybody needs to be focused, and posture. So the posture itself speaks about the individual. Are you confident? Are you, a person with lot of self-respect and self-esteem? So that is very much enhanced by improving your posture, the shoulders getting opened and you have a spring in your walk. So all that is enhanced. Reduction in oxygen consumption, which is very, very vital, the quality of reduction, because when we are doing all these physical activities, what happens is that a lot of the oxygen is consumed from your tissues, and what happens is there is an oxygen deficit happening in general. So what with yoga, there is a less consumption of oxygen from the tissues and cells, and that enables, conservation of all your resources, your body resources, your mind resources, and that helps with you. And what is Antaranga Yoga? The inner pathway, the inner yoga, where you connect with yourself. So, what are these field games and sports triggering within us? It is triggering a kind of a stress response. So, as a complementing activity, yoga is going to trigger or activate the relaxation response, which is very much essential again. So, and the other important thing that yoga inculcates in every individual is discipline. See, the whole of Yoga Sutras, Maharishi Patanjali has given us, starts with Atha Yoga Anushasanam. And what does that mean? With this, the discipline of yoga is beginning to start. We are beginning to explore the discipline of yoga. So, yoga basically is a discipline. And by doing these techniques, that same discipline is inculcated in every individual, which is very much a part of the sporting activity also. The anxiety, depression, all these are alleviated. Immune response. So we need to be strong. We need to have that strong immune power to resist anything. And self-confidence, self-esteem, self-acceptance. So I am this, yes. You know what? Sachin Tendulkar, he's such a smart, short personality. Gavaskar, Sunil Gavaskar, such a short person. Maradona, such a short one. They are not tall. And I've heard, I've read someplace saying that, initially they had this thought in mind, oh my God, if I were tall like Amitabh Bachchan or somebody else in sport, if I were tall, how well it could be. But uh, individual to individual, there are differences. One is tall, one is short, one is fair, one is dark, one is like strong, one is weak. So how do we overcome all these and accept yourself as you are, which is a blessing, which is going to make you more confident that you can face the world or face anything that happens. So what is this stress response all about? That could be seen, the stress in sports could be addressed in three different angles. One is the stress and performance. Before performance, natural stress happens, and what is your response going to be with that? And how do you manage yourself during these situations? So there are three different angles to which this could be approached, and each one has a positive and a negative connotation. What do you see this as? Are you stressed? And do you think that this is such a big problem that I will not be able to manage that, or I will not be able to perform well? So that is kind of a negative connotation. So what happens with yoga? It kind of helps reduce the stress so that all these negative connotations are transformed into total positive connotation. So what do you perceive? By changing the way you perceive things, the way you see things, the way you approach a problem, there is a solution to every problem. And the way you can perform becomes better because you are more positive. The way you see everything has changed. Everything seems positive now. And you can regulate yourself in a better way. So isn't that beautiful? You manage yourself, and the way you respond to all these challenges is so different that everything is really good and enhanced, and you can give better than your best performance. And stay in zone, because before the match, however trained a person is, however well, intensive coaching, training, anything, but still before a match there is a sense of, will I be able to give my best? So that kind of worry or that kind of a doubt is alleviated with all these techniques that we do in yoga. And apart from all this, the old injuries that are there, that have happened during training or during the game or a match, is kind of the recuperation happens with all these techniques that we do. So how does that happen? All the tissues, the hurt tissues, it forms a scar and binds with the connective tissues in your body, which is caused because of the overtraining. So now what happens? All these adhesions, the scarred adhesions, are removed so that the cellular activity, the tissue activity is completely now rejuvenated, and complete recovery from the old injury happens. And that, regenerates and repairs at the cellular level, causing a anabolic buildup happening instead of the catabolic breakdown. So that, promotes healing from within. And of course, the soft tissues are worked, resulting in less deposition of the lactic acid. So lactates cause a lot of stiffness in the body and pain. So if that depositions are removed or relieved, there is less stiffness, more flexibility, resulting in an overall better performance. So what is the primary rationale with all these yogic techniques? Joint integrity. Because if the joint integrity is good, if the mobility is good, the range of movement is good, all your activity in any sport or any kind of, exercise training is going to be enhanced, which is, slightly affected when you're doing the intensive training. And of course, the same activity is repeated many number of times while we are practicing for a particular game or a match or a sport, which causes the repetitive strain or stress injuries because of the overuse or abuse of one particular group of muscles, which become weak. And what is causing a lot of fatigue, physical fatigue, which results in mental fatigue and irritability also. So yoga helps integrate all these joints by promoting the sense of circulation of the pranic energy, which we call in yoga parlance as a Vyana Vayu. There are 5 different Vayus, each one having a different functionality in the physical body in the human being. The prana, apana, vyana, udana, and samana. 5 different connotations are there. And here we are focusing for the joint activity, for the overall better performance. We focus on the vyana, which kind of, circulates the whole of the body and the mind and the whole of the individual, and enhancing the blood circulation, enhancing the nervous conductivity, all the impulses are enhanced. So the overall circulation of energy within is enhanced. I'm again not just talking about the physical energy, it is also your mental energy. Mental energy being the ability to decide. There are, you have to make a decision. Do I hit it high or do I hit it low? Is it going to be a square cut or something else, or a straight cut? When the ball comes, because it is not planned, you cannot plan that. It just comes and you have to decide it in a split second. So with this Vyana Vayu circulation, all these qualities are enhanced within, and specific muscle groups which are affected with the training, for example, the gluteus, the hamstrings, the calves, the foot, and the ankle, those regions are enhanced now. And these are a few symptoms which you must all be familiar. Generalized weakness, tiredness, unexplained pains, disturbed sleep, weight loss, restlessness, flared tempers, loss of appetite, hormonal changes, sometimes depressed mood, emotional instability. All these are happening because we have kind of activated ourselves with the practice. So there is an overall sympathetic response which has caused all these symptoms to occur. So what is the contribution and influence of yoga now going to be? So the first we start when we talk about Ashtanga Yoga, there are 8 different steps here. Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyana, and Samadhi. So as we saw before, Dharana, Dhyana, Samadhi, for the inner aspects, to go within, to realize yourself, to strengthen from within, your mind, your emotions, to stay put, to stay firm, stable, mentally, emotionally, all those are the inner aspects. So the other outer aspect starts with yama and niyama, which we call as the foundational practices, the basic practices. So when we are beginning to build a building, whether it is like 2-floor building or 100-floor building, what matters is the foundation. Is the foundation strong enough to hold 100 floors that you're going to build? So yama and niyama are kind of the foundation practices in yoga, which stimulates and inculcates discipline. Like we discussed before, discipline is a very, very important factor, and better behavioral codes and abstinence from malpractices, which is very, very common, that is happening in the sports arena nowadays. So what is attitude made up of? Ethics, morality, and values. So yama and niyama are nothing but these, the ethical values and the moral values that the individual has to follow. The codes of self and social living as an individual, what you have to be, because you are not just the individual in a game. If you're playing a game with 11 other players, you have to be strong enough, not just for yourself but as the whole team. So you have to correspond with each and every member of the team, and the qualities, the pleasantness, the command. If you are a leader, you need to command and be assertive about it and not hurt the others. So as a team, the team spirit is built up by all these yama and niyama, the codes of living. There are 10 different codes, like the 10 commandments. And asanas, you are all very, very familiar about it. I don't have to explain separately about this. So one good thing about asanas is that they are static and it is not a dynamic practice, but we have other sequences which could be made dynamic also. Say for example, people who have been doing all those sitting games, the sedentary games, the carom or chess, for them we would prescribe the dynamic activities, sequential activities, all those. But for people who are doing strength training, resistance training, lifting weights or kind of field training, for them the isometric static postures would be advisable, where they just hold the position and in the final posture they hold it for a while, and the muscles are the tonus. Isometric meaning the stretching is happening, which is maintained, and the tone is going to be similar, and there is no disturbance. Strengthening happens in the muscular level, and which is like starting from the joint to the tissues, all these, one after the other are enhanced with the asanas. And the other thing, when we do a practice on one side, say for example we are doing it on the right side, we have to complement and do the same thing on the left side also, which is like something which we lack doing. And that is what is so important in asanas, that we have to create that balance. Because say for example we are writing, we are right handers, which means we will use the pen only using the right hand. Do we ever complement that activity by doing something, using the pen in a left hand? We never do that. We fail to do that. So there is a kind of an imbalance happening, which is what is being addressed by the practice of asanas. And flexibility, like we've already discussed about, and control and strength, of course. Yes, you need to have a better control of yourself, right? The tonus in the muscles, which is required very much. So as you can see, all these postures, each one has a different benefit. And we have an array of techniques from which we can choose for each and every individual, for each and every sport, to complement and supplement that activity that they are doing in their particular training. So what are the different asanas at different levels are there? Different types of techniques are there. Say for example, we have standing asanas. So what does that do? It helps, enhance the strength in the legs, promote the flexibility in the hip region, the pelvic region, the hamstrings, agility and maneuverability. If you can move freely, if you can be agile and alert, you can really win a game with that agility and maneuverability, without being noticed. And balancing, there are asanas, balancing asanas, which is very, very essential. Again, all these, the gross practices that we are doing using the physical body, but where is the change happening? It is actually happening in your psychology. So that is being addressed by the physical practices, where if you're holding a balancing, if you're standing on one leg, you must all have seen, the vrikshasana, the tree posture. You're standing on one leg with your hands like this, or many variations are there. So what is that promoting? A sense of stability from within, and the awareness, the proprioception is enhanced with these postures. And what does the forward bend do? There is a beautiful extension of the spine happening, extension which helps to promote the suppleness in the spinal region. And abdominal activities are enhanced with that beautiful compression that is happening. And the other important change happening with the forward bend is the quality of humility, which all of us need. Like, we cannot afford to be arrogant in like any sport or any activity that we are as an individual. We cannot afford to be arrogant. So we have to have that humility, and keep on that spirit for us to be in a team. If we have to interact with everybody, we need to promote that quality also. And inversions, where you're standing upside down, the topsy turvy positions, helping enhance the brain, blood supply to the brain, and enhancing the activity of the psychoneuroimmunoendocrine axis, the whole of the axis. Because more we are in this position, perpendicular to the gravity, standing on the both the legs, balancing, we are like this most of the time. So what happens when you completely go the other way around? The blood flow is enhanced to the other way. So it has to, because of the gravitational pull, the whole of the blood flow, the venous drainage, everything is enhanced. So the strain in the legs, there will be some edema caused because of the overstrain, or like overstanding, overrunning, whatever it is. So that abuse is kind of alleviated and balanced by these postures. And arm balance, there are hand balancing postures, which is going to enhance the core and upper body strength, balance the body, and awareness is created, better awareness. And twisting postures are there, where you twist across with the spinal axis, in as the pivotal joint. So what is happening with that? The cardiovascular health is enhanced. The cardiorespiratory health is enhanced, because respiration is very much essential for any activity in sport or yoga. And shoulder mobility. So by these and the digestive activity, eliminative activity, the health of the spine, again, the suppleness, the more flexible, the spinal flexibility is very, very important. And all these are enhanced with the different postures that we do follow in the asanas, yoga asanas, that we train during these exercise routine also. And pranayama, what is pranayama going to do? All, like we discussed earlier, all the respiratory parameters, the vital capacity, tidal volume, you name it, and it is there, it is enhanced. And nostril manipulation, this is something that we need to notice. Nostril manipulation, or the any activity that we do perform on the right side of our body is going to activate the left hemisphere of your brain, and any activity on the left side of your body is going to activate the right hemisphere of your brain. So it is like when we are doing something with the right hand, your left brain is activated, leaving the right brain slightly underused, which means there is an imbalance created. The functioning of both should be balanced. There is, because of the crisscross happening at the brow level, in the nervous connectivity, these changes happen. So when we are manipulating the right nostril, so breathing in and out through the right nostril is going to activate a person. So before their performance, they need to have that activity given so that they can face the performance in a better way. But once they complete their game or sporting activity, they have to come back to relaxed state, which means the left nostril breathing after the game is going to help them regain that sense of balance. So, which is very, very essential. Again, the sensory perception, the motor sensory activity, mental clarity, focus, concentration, willpower, which is very, very essential. If you are doubting yourself, how will you be able to face the audience in any game for that matter? And determination, yes, I can do it, I will do it, I have to do it, and go and face with complete courage and boldness. And the pre-competition anxiety, stress is brought down. Balance in emotions, like I said, the right, the left nostrils, and the pranayama wherein we use the nada, promoting a sense of beautiful, reverberating, vibrating activity in the brain cells. So after a match in the ring, where there is an aggressive hit and punch happening, so this is going to completely calm them down, enabling a sense of lot of other positive things to be promoted, and overall performance is enhanced with this. And mudras, simple mudras like this, or a namaskar. How do we do that? Namaste. I bow to the divine in you. Bringing in this simple thing is like connecting both the left and the right hemispheres of the brain, bringing in a sense of balance. So ability to balance is happening with all these mudras, and the energy is getting channelized to where we need. What do we want to do? So accordingly, promoting a sense of joy, a sense of happiness, a sense of achievement. And apart from that, alertness. You have to be alert in the game, in the field. You have to be, you cannot miss that. Reduces the sense of aggression, and it creates a sense of calming and healing effect in the whole of the nervous system and psyche. And relaxation, of course, I don't have to mention about this. This is the best posture that everybody is going to like. All of us, be it in the sport or any other individual for that matter, we just love this asana, shavasana. Just let me lie down for a while and relax. So what is this shavasana doing? It is helping you, one, as an individual, you are completely connecting to yourself. So you remember the disagreement that we were talking about, the constant fight between your mind and body. What your mind says, your body doesn't want to follow. What your body does, your mind doesn't want to agree. So simple things like, a lot of disagreement happening in your everyday living and life. So all these little fights going on causes a disagreement. So how do you stay connected? By relaxing. And the other connection that is happening is with you as the individual. You are living in this world, but you have to stay connected with this universal energy which is keeping you, are part of this universe. So you have to, you are not on your own, right? So you have to stay connected with that universal energy. So relaxation is going to help you, one, connect with yourself and connect with that beautiful universal energy, and cause a lot of healing and recuperation and rejuvenation at all the levels of our existence. And psychomotor activity, the grip strength, you have to catch the ball, when it comes to you in a split second, you have to make that decision. It comes in this direction, okay, I have to take it like this. So the eye hand coordination and the reaction time, you have to be alert and respond immediately. And the steadiness, balance, all these are enhanced. And the cognitive functions, attention, concentration, depth perception, you have to perceive all these are improved with the pranayama practices. So like I was, till now, I have just listed all that we discussed. The sporting activity and yogic activity, both of them are complementing with each other. So one is going to complement the shortcoming or the weakness in the other. So with the sporting activity, what is happening? The strength, endurance, and efficiency are enhanced. But with the yogic activity, there is a regeneration and a recuperation happening. So what is lost here is regained here. So both put together, it is going to make that individual a more healthy person. So here before the game, you need to have the stress response, because otherwise without the sympathetic activity, you cannot perform better. But after that, you need to relax. So after the game, you have to have the relaxation response. So with the sympathetic activity, you are in the fight or the flight mode. But with the yogic activity, you are in the rest and digest mode. So this is goal oriented, that is process. And here it is sympathetic dominance, there it is parasympathetic dominance, like we were discussing in the autonomic system, autonomic nervous system. So creating that balance again. Right brain. So when you do both, after this followed by this, you create that again sense of stability within. Activating all the sporting activities are activating and energizing, whereas this is more relaxing. And what are the hormones that are released before you go into a game? The sympathetic activity triggers the release of hormones like cortisol, cortisone, corticosterones. All these stress hormones, the adrenals are working. So all these are released before a game, but after the game you have to regain. So what is this? With the yoga, that is released hormones such as the serotonin, melatonin, GABA, the gamma amino butyric acid, all these endorphins, enkephalins, all these feel good hormones are released, creating that sense of beautiful harmony and relaxation. In yoga, we call it as abhyasa and vairagya. So what is abhyasa? Say for example, you're driving a car. So when you're driving a car, you need to have the accelerator and the brake. Both of them should be working. Is it enough if only the accelerator is working and you don't need the brake at all? So where do we end up? We end up in a disastrous state. So we need to have abhyasa is the accelerator and vairagya is the brake. So at all times, we cannot be just accelerating. When you are in a traffic signal or when you have to stop, when somebody is crossing a road, you need to stop, which means you have to apply the brakes. So you need both for a better balance. So this is like kind of the wings, two wings of a bird. Both are essential. For a bird to start flying, it has to flap the wings. That is the abhyasa stage. And once it is in the sky, it is just opening its arms and just gliding. And that is the vairagya state. So both these are essential as a complementing and supplementing. So ultimately, balance is the key of life and living. This is for everybody. So in conclusion, I would just like to reiterate on what yoga stipulates. The doctrine of yoga speaks much about equal mindedness. You have to have, whether it is you win a game, whether you lose a game, you should not be over happy or excited, jubilant with one victory, or you should not completely go into the state of depression if you lose a game or a match. So you have to have that ability to accept both with an equal mind. That we call it as sama bhava. So you take the victory and the failure in the same attitude, with a sense of complete acceptance, and do your best and leave the rest. So have you trained enough? Have you practiced enough? So in the field, you don't have to have any tension. So just do what needs to be done and then give over. So abhyasa is the practicing part. And then you have to stay alert and agile and just execute what you have trained. That's it. Nishkama karma. What comes, don't accept the fruits. Don't look forward for the fruits of your action. as said in Bhagavad Gita. So what is adopting these attitudes in life help everyone attain a quiet mind, a controlled body, leading to skill in action. So whatever you are, wherever you are best in your activity, be it batting, be it bowling, be it a defender, a goalkeeper, whatever you are, in whatever activity, your skill is enhanced, and that we call it as the Karmashu Kaushalam. Yoga Karmashu Kaushalam. So yoga is for everybody and for the whole of the humanity. So as Swami Vivekananda says, each soul is potentially divine. So may we all be blessed to manifest that divinity and that potentiality that we are blessed with and endowed with. So by doing both these activities, the sporting activity along with the yogic activity, it is going to enhance the quality of potentiality as well as divinity from within all of us. So thank you very much for this wonderful opportunity. Vaidyanathan sir, thank you so much. So I'm going to stop sharing the screen. Where is it? Yes.
Thank
So
you,
thank
ma'am.
you so much.
Thank you so much for your wonderful presentation. Thank you. I'm so much delighted to introduce Dr. Chandrasekharan. Dr. Chandrasekharan is a diamond of physical education in India. Dr. Chandrasekharan is the head of the Department of Physical Education at Madurai Kamaraj University, Madurai in India.
Sir, idhula na leave pannidren.
Yes. Basically, a chemistry graduate, his proficiency and interest in sports and games made him a physical education professional by acquiring the highest degree in the field of Doctor of Philosophy, PhD from Mananmaniam Sundaram University, India in India 1999. He has established a centralized test battery for the Tamil Nadu sports school basketball players. He has visited Malaysia, Hong Kong, Thailand, Philippines, and Sri Lanka to deliver the special lectures, scientific research papers, presentation, and conduct of yoga workshops to foreign delegates. Dr. Chandrasekharan has started his career as a physical education director and a trainer in the year 1984. He is the chairman of Board of Studies in UG, PG, and research programs in Madurai Kamaraj University, Bharat University, and member Board of Studies in Physical Education and Yoga in more than 15 universities around India. He has produced 30 to 40 PhD scholars. He has delivered more than 70 special lectures